Level 1, Basic Economy. You bought the cheapest ticket because the number was the only thing you could see, $89. You didn't read the fine print because the fine print is designed not to be read. You find out what basic economy means at the gate, one piece at a time, like a series of small doors closing. No seat selection. You get whatever's left, which is the middle, row 41, between two strangers who both got the aisle and the window and now resent the math that put you between them. No carry-on in the overhead. Your bag has to fit under the seat, and when it doesn't, the agent charges you $65 at the gate, more than half what the ticket cost, and there's no arguing because the line behind you is breathing. You board last. You stand in the jet bridge watching 8 groups go before you, and by the time they call your number, the overhead bins are full, and the cabin is already settled, and you walk down the aisle late, the one everyone watches, the one holding. Up the row, apologizing with your shoulders. You sit. The seat doesn't recline. You learn this when you press the button and nothing happens and the person in front of you reclines into your knees anyway. For 4 hours, you sit perfectly upright like you're being punished for something. They come through with the cart. Water is free. Everything else is a card swipe. You're thirsty and hungry and you do the math again, the math you thought you left on the ground, and you drink the free water and call it dinner. The first rule at Basic Economy, you didn't buy a flight. You bought permission to be moved. And permission comes with conditions you only read after you've already paid. Level 2, Economy. You paid the extra $40 to choose your seat this time, and choosing it felt like power. An aisle. Row 22. You can get up without asking. You can stretch one leg into the open space when the cart isn't coming. $40 bought you a body that isn't trapped, and it's worth more than $40 to a body that remembers being trapped. You board in group 5. Not early, but not the walk of shame either. There's still room in the bins when you get there. You lift your bag up and it fits, and nobody watches you do it, and the not being watched is its own small luxury. The flight attendant says, "Welcome aboard," and it's a script. You know it's a script, but a script is still more than the silence at the gate when you were group 9. They bring the cart. The snack is free now, a small cookie in a wrapper, and the coffee is free, and you take both, not because you're hungry, but because free things taste different when you spent years counting. You eat the cookie slowly. The person next to you doesn't eat theirs. They've had 1,000 cookies. You've had this one. You look out the window at the clouds and feel, for the length of one flight, like things are working the way they're supposed to. The second rule at Economy, $40 doesn't buy comfort. It buys the absence of humiliation. And the absence of humiliation feels like comfort to anyone who's gone without it. Level 3, Premium Economy. The seat is wider. That's the first thing your body notices before your mind catches up. Wider. And the recline goes back far enough that your spine unlocks something it's been holding since Basic Economy. There's a footrest. A small one, but it lifts, and your legs stop being a problem you have to manage for 4 hours. You board in a group they call priority, which is a word the airline invented to make the middle feel like the top. You walk past the line of economy passengers still waiting, and you feel the thing they feel looking at you, the thing you used to feel, and you don't enjoy it exactly, but you don't hate it either. The flight attendant hands you a real menu, printed. You get to choose. The food comes on a tray with actual texture to it, a cloth napkin folded once, a glass that's glass. You eat a meal at 35,000 feet that's better than what you ate on the ground last Tuesday. They offer wine. You say yes, not because you want it, but because being offered is the point. Halfway through the flight, the attendant remembers you asked for water earlier and brings another without you asking. The detail is small. The detail is everything. You're not in the front of the plane, but you're no longer in the part of the plane the airline forgets. The third rule at Premium Economy, the airline stops processing you and starts serving you. And the first time someone serves you without being asked, you understand what every level above this one is really selling. Level 4, Business Class. You don't wait in the regular line. There's a separate one, shorter, with a sign that means something, and a person at the desk who looks up before you reach them. Your bag has a tag that says priority, and it will come out first on the other end, and that single tag erases the worst 20 minutes of every trip you've ever taken. You're invited to a lounge. You didn't know lounges existed at basic economy. You didn't know the airport had quiet rooms with free food and showers and chairs built for sitting, hidden behind doors that only open for certain cards. You sit in one. You eat for free. You charge your phone at a seat that has its own outlet, and through the window, you watch the gate where the economy passengers are standing, and you remember standing there, and the glass between you is thin and total. You board first, when the plane is empty and yours, and you walk to a seat that's almost a small room. It reclines into a bed, a flat bed, on a plane. The attendant knows your name from the manifest and uses it. "Can I get you a drink before we take off, mister?" The before takeoff drink is the whole philosophy of this level. The service starts before the work does. You sleep across an ocean. You wake up where you're going instead of arriving destroyed. The fourth rule at business class: economy sells you the distance. Business class sells you the time on the other side of it. Level 5. First class. There are 8 seats up here and a curtain that closes, and the curtain isn't fabric, it's a border. On one side, the cabin you came up through. On this side, a different country with the same destination. The attendant is assigned to you specifically, not to a section. To you. They introduce themselves by name and they're not going anywhere for the next 12 hours except wherever you need them. You get a seat that's a suite, a door that slides, a closet for your jacket so it doesn't wrinkle, pajamas folded, and a bag with your size already guessed correctly. The food isn't served. It's plated course by course when you want it, not when the cart reaches you. You can eat at midnight or not at all. The kitchen, such as it is, runs on your hunger, not the schedule. Someone makes your bed while you're in the lavatory changing, and you come back to turn down sheets and a mattress pad that wasn't there before, and you didn't see it happen because seeing it happen isn't the experience they're selling. The seamlessness is the experience. You sip something old and expensive and watch the map and realize the person 3 feet away behind the curtain paid 1/10 of what you paid and is breathing the same air at the same altitude, arriving at the same minute, and the only difference money bought was how the 12 hours felt. The 5th rule at first class: at this altitude, everyone arrives at the same time. You're not paying to get there faster. You're paying so the getting there doesn't cost you anything of yourself. Level 6, International First Suite. The kind with a door that locks and a window in your own private cabin and a chair across from your bed for a guest who isn't there. You're escorted through the airport now. Someone meets you curbside, walks you past every line, through a private security lane, into a first-class terminal that has no gate noise and no announcements, and a chauffeur who drives you across the tarmac directly to the aircraft. Stairs. You never touch the terminal. The rest of the world calls the airport. You have a suite, not a seat. A real door. A wardrobe, a vanity, a bed that a person made with linens flown in for the route, a shower. A shower on a plane with a heated floor and a timer that gives you enough hot water to feel human over an ocean. You order from a menu designed by a chef whose name is on restaurants you've eaten at on the ground. The attendant has read a file on you before you boarded. You don't drink coffee after the meal. You like the cabin colder than most. You ask for still water, not sparkling, on the last flight, and all of it is already done before you. Mention any of it. You are not being responded to. You are being anticipated. The 6th rule at the first suite: service that responds to you is for business class. Service that anticipates you is what real money buys. And being anticipated is the closest the world comes to being understood. Level 7, Private Charter. You stop flying with strangers. You book the whole cabin or a seat in a cabin that's small and selected, and the experience reorganizes around a fact that took 6 levels to reach. The plane waits for you now. Not the other way around. You arrive when you arrive. There is no boarding time because boarding starts when your car reaches the steps. There is no group number because there is no group. There's a small terminal, sometimes a room with a couch, sometimes just a door to the tarmac, and you walk from your car to the aircraft in under a minute, and nobody checks anything because checking happened invisibly. Before you arrived, around your name, there are 6 seats and they're all the seat. A flight attendant who knows what you eat, a pilot who comes back to say the flight time and the weather and your name. The aircraft is smaller and somehow the world inside it is larger, because for the first time, the schedule isn't a thing imposed on you. It's a thing built from you. You realize the entire airline industry below this level exists to fit thousands of people into a shape that's efficient for the airline. Up here, the shape fits you. The seventh rule at private charter, every level below this one bends you to fit the plane. This is the first level where the plane bends to fit you, and the bending is the whole product. You were never paying for the flight. You were paying for the schedule to finally be yours. Level 8, your own jet. You don't book, you decide. The decision is the entire process. You want to be somewhere, you tell someone, and a machine that costs more than most people earn in 50 lifetimes is fueled and crewed and waiting before you finish your coffee. There's no ticket. There's no class, because class was always just a way of dividing strangers, and there are no strangers on your aircraft. It's configured to you, the leather you chose, the layout you wanted, a bedroom in the back, a table where deals get signed at altitude. The crew works for you specifically, knows your routine, your family, the temperature you like, the music you don't want playing on takeoff. You file no lines, clear no terminals, wait for no one. The plane is a room in your life that happens to move between cities. The cost per hour is a number you don't calculate because calculating it isn't the point, and not having to calculate it is the point. You look out the window at a commercial jet crossing below you, full of people in rows, Group 9 boarding somewhere down there in a jet bridge, holding up a line, apologizing with their shoulders, and you remember it the way you remember. A city you lived in as a child, yours once, foreign now. The 8th rule at your own jet, you stopped being a passenger. The aircraft became an extension of your will, and there is no service higher than a machine that moves the moment you decide it should. Level 9, the fleet. You don't have a jet. You have aircraft, plural, positioned in different cities so that wherever you are, one is already near, already warm, already crewed, waiting on a decision you haven't made yet. You don't think about flying any more than you think about walking from one room to another. The friction is gone so completely that the act of crossing the planet has become invisible to you the way the most expensive things eventually do. You influence the thing now. The manufacturer asks what you'd want in the next model. The completion center builds the interior around a sentence you said over dinner. You're not a customer of aviation, you're a reason it builds what it builds next. The same industry that charged you $65 at a gate for a bag that didn't fit now flies executives out to ask your opinion on a cabin that doesn't exist yet. The distance from row 41 is permanent in total, not just in miles but in kind. You will never again stand in a jet bridge. You will never again read fine print. You will never again do the math. The 9th rule at the fleet, at the top, the airline stops moving you and starts asking you where the whole thing should go.